I just haven't played a lot, but I think two of my favorites are probably table tennis and Max Payne 3.
Oh,
For some reason, I just absolutely love
recently. It's so entertaining. There's like
table tennis for Rockstar is great.
I was so glad we didn't say the word
It's also a good game.
It's the overly elaborate bit where you go and pat people down after you've shot them in the face.
All right, we're officially live, gentlemen.
Oh, whoopsies.
Bye.
Joke's on you, bitches, because I'm here to stay.
Oh,
It's a 7-man episode.
it is a 7-man episode.
That's
Evan is pouring in this auspicious occasion.
Oh yeah, look at that
everyone.
head.
Yes, she can't pour for shit. I don't know why. You'd think for the amount of beer that you've drank over the years, you'd be able to pour.
One day.
Just
That's-
go
He's
like
just
pour
going to
beer
go
like
to Japan
this,
and teach him how to pour a beer.
right?
Yeah.
Well, there's probably things online that you could look up. Yeah, this is episode 7. We talk about shit online, don't we? Right, that's enough of that. Welcome to Pixel Pints, episode 7. We're a group of people from around the world who talk about things that we like to enjoy, which is good beer and video games. I've dropped a bit about drinking responsibly because of you lot, basically.
Yeah. None of you drink
fair enough.
responsible.
I class responsibly as being able to pour beer without having an inch thick head on it. So
Looks good now.
take that for what you will. Maybe it's not about the quantity you intake, and it's not about binge drinking and protecting your health and enjoying the pastime. Maybe it's just about Evan not being able to pour responsibly. Christ, I'm feeling stupid this morning. You can find all our stuff on any podcatcher you want. So if you're watching us live or watching us on the archive on YouTube and think, I'd like to continue listening to this, but I can't step away from I need to step away from my computer or tablet, you can take it with us on the go. I screwed that up as well.
That's pretty good.
Fine.
Spotify,
It was good.
iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can listen to us.
Oh, thanks to
There you
Anchor.fm. Thank you, Anchor.fm. They're not sponsoring us. I just wanted to thank them. And if you can follow us on social medias, we are Pixel Pints Pod on Instagram and Pixel_Pints on Twitter.
Yep.
Right, getting into it. This week, we're going to be talking about the last 3 game streaming conference things. And Liam probably wants to talk about Tomb Raiders for a bit.
No, I don't.
Ugh.
I don't want to talk about it.
But first, we'll get the challenge out of the way. So, Matt, would you like to go back 3 weeks in time and explain to people why there was a need for you to challenge Evan to a challenge that you challenged him on?
So I challenged Evan because I was lacking in points on the quizzes
Oh,
Significantly.
that's right.
significantly. It was like, what, 2 to 12?
It's currently 22 to 10.
Okay. So
What'd you do after I helped you out?
I know, yeah.
You recruited
We
me.
at least made it close. We were like 2-point difference. What did you do?
I did horribly.
and Evan have stormed it.
So then
Yeah.
I challenged Evan to Super Mario Brothers Versus, which is the arcade version of Super Mario Brothers, and
Notoriously harder than the actual game, the original that was released on the Nintendo
Right.
Entertainment System. Yeah.
and so Evan forgot about it for 2 weeks and was like, "Yeah, no, I totally forgot we were doing this challenge." And then 30 minutes ago, posted in the Discord, is like, "Here's my fucking score, 100,000 points," and I was like, "Shit, let me go grab my Switch." And I scored 11,000, I think.
Oh, no. Jesus.
A tenth. Of,
I think if you run through the first level without getting anything, I think you get about 15. So I don't know what the fuck.
I'm just imagining the song of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did a horrible one.
I mean,
yeah, Matt,
So-
you deserve to not have those points.
It's fair. Yeah, it's very fair. Yeah.
I can't believe it. I know you're not a very competitively minded person, but
No,
would
but I
have thought
think that
being
you're like
so far behind.
you're like secretly rooting for me, and I feel bad for disappointing you.
You,
I don't know.
you should be. It's not just me. You've let everyone else down as well.
So is now Matt's score the same, or he lost even more
No,
I
points?
think he's a big fat
Matt-
donut right now, right?
Matt
He's
stays
zero.
on. Matt stays on the shameful 10, and
Okay.
Evan stays 12 points ahead, laughing at him,
Oh.
pointing atop his mountain of points.
Yeah.
Where am I on the screen? Ha 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 ha. I
You're
don't
the
know.
very
On
bottom.
my screen, there's the 6 of us, and Evan is alone on the bottom row.
And because I am the orchestrator of this, I purposely did that.
Oh.
Because I was. If you had won, I was going to ask if you wanted to bring yourself up to the same score as Evan, or if you wanted to drag him down to your score.
Wow.
The shame of it, pulling him down because you beat him, but it's irrelevant now because you didn't even try. You've obviously not watched that Michael Jordan documentary, have you, on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
The Last Dance.
I made
That's the
it
one.
personal. He challenged me. I made it personal.
what shit were you making up in your mind on social? Just making up posts on social media that Matt said what to me?
Yeah. It's like I just love how in The Last Dance, like everything was personal to Jordan, no matter what it was.
Yep.
Even
Right.
if someone looked at him wrong, he was just gonna dunk on him.
For the video watchers, everybody that's on Twitch right now, and everybody watching this in the YouTube archive, if you can't beat him, you got to join him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to wear a vest.
It is. It is best
it's
weather.
the same stripe pattern as well.
It is. Yeah.
Ugh.
Did you do that on purpose because you knew you'd lose the challenge, or did you just have a vest on
No,
underneath your t-shirt?
he was wearing it before the stream, and I was like, "Oh, I have one of those," and I was like, "Let me wear it."
He also had a
Yeah.
completely different strategy of how he's going to reveal that shirt. So that was completely different than what
True.
he told
Yeah,
me
very, very
like 20
true.
minutes
Yeah.
ago.
I thought when you were going to take it off, there was suddenly a Liverpool shirt underneath.
Oh man,
No,
that was great.
Oh,
Oh shit.
Has he gone to get his every shirt again?
No, Evan realised he still couldn't pour
There you
beer,
go.
and it nearly flowed over. The
That's exactly what happened.
Right,
Uh,
so very quickly, because there's so many of us, has anyone got any beers they want to talk about before we start talking about the snooze fest that Summer Games is turning into? Editorializing again.
Yeah.
Oh, not that
editorializing.
shit again.
Yeah, I already talked about Elvis Juice, and yeah, it's my half day off today, and going out to Osaka to go drinking for a little birthday deal. So I'll take it lightly with a 6.5% session grapefruit infused IPA.
6.5%
Take it lightly
session.
with 6.5%.
So I have a Tenaya Creek Hop Ride, and this is a 7.2 session IPA.
Proper sesh.
At least
So
you
has
can one
anyone
up them
got
on
an
the
8.2?
percentages.
Yeah. Has anyone got an Orkney Skull Splitter, 8.4% stout?
Right.
Matt, do you want to give any notes on your Tenaya Creek hop ride? Or is it just a screw you bitches, I've got this?
It's a very flowery.
Does the bike have any shocks on it?
citrusy-
So it's,
What was that?
go
Mitch?
ahead. I was gonna say, does it have any shocks on it to make it extra hoppy?
No,
Oh,
it should.
oh my
though.
God.
It's got the bike on the can. And
Yeah, I saw the
everything.
bike.
Like, yeah, it's
Oh, is there a bike on the can?
There's a bike
I thought
on
Mitch
it.
was just making
That's
a horrible. Okay.
No, there's a
Yeah,
bike
no,
on
it's
it.
a-
So I was like, I wonder
All
if it
right,
has shocks to make it extra hoppy. You
yeah. And
know?
if you follow us on Instagram, I posted a story where it's a Fog Hat slow ride, but it's a picture of Hop Ride. Slow ride, take it easy. Yeah, it's very citrusy. It's got some heavy pine to it. It's a solid IPA for sure.
Well, it's
Let me try it.
7.2%. I'd expect it to be pretty solid.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm just a little pissed. So we're all
You're
good.
just going through the motions.
Yep.
We've got Mitch back. Welcome back, Mitch.
Hello.
How are things in the hot, I'm guessing, Los Angeles?
The land of the angels. Yeah, it's gonna get hotter the next couple days. I think we're gonna hit 90s, high 90s. So it'll be my third time it hit 90s since I've been here in LA. So it's fine. You should ask Burkoff how hot it is out there.
Us British people totally understand what that means.
Yeah. What's that in metric?
Oh,
It's 35
it's actually
C.
it's 35 degrees Celsius.
Oh wow, that's hot. Bloody hell.
I love that.
Which is the same exact temperature it will be tomorrow in LA. So there you go.
Well, that's decent weather for drinking a nice cold beer.
I'll stick with
right.
water for now. Don't dehydrate.
Right, whizzing around the room. Liam, how's things with the Tomb Raider collection announcement? Why are you sad?
Gonna kill every last one of them. I'm sad.
Obviously, that was hyperbole. We don't condone the killing of everyone.
Why not?
Obviously.
Or anyone.
That's the reason.
So,
everybody
yeah,
laughed.
like Mitch said, anyone.
I'll just have to go down to the Square Enix offices and just beg them. Okay, no killing. But that image that I posted about Tomb Raider, like an ultimate collection, which like contained all retro games, like is seemingly fake. So I was like up here yesterday, and now I'm like further down below the camera that you can't see it.
See,
Below Evan.
Liam, you can come over to my place. I have every single Tomb Raider game, every PS1, PS2. I got them all.
Do you happen to have a copy next to you?
No, I do not have a copy next to me. My dad, one of my first games I ever watched was like Resident Evil, but the other game was Tomb Raider. And every summer after summer camp, especially when they were on their streak of coming out with a game every single year, when they did, I think it was Revelations and Dark Side Chronicles or whatever.
Yeah.
He would buy a new Tomb Raider every summer after I got back from summer camp. So it would be super fun to like watch a new Tomb Raider. So I have them all.
Well, I have a similar experience to that, really. Yeah. Just love those
You went to
games.
summer camp with Mitch.
Yes.
I would have known if I met a Brit at summer camp.
No, doesn't remember me. Tragic.
I might have thrown you in the lake. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, that was you?
Oh, I guess
Man,
so.
Mitch, you've gotten so small. You were huge.
Right. Continuing before this descends into further anarchy. Michael, how are things in Venice?
Really chill. I escaped the hotness in Southampton. It was really hot, so I just escaped on the rooftop Venice, on the rooftops of Venice. Yeah.
Is your picture of Venice for any particular reason?
I'm just in a big Ezio collection mood right now. Like I'm feeling those games so badly. I always, like, ever since I played that game for the first time, Assassin's Creed 2, I want to go to Venice. I never got to.
It's a beautiful city. It's really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's horrendously expensive. It's absolutely amazing place to visit. If you could do, say, a 2-night break, you could probably get in quite a lot of all the touristy bits. It's very easy to get lost if you don't have a guide or Google Maps. But even with Google Maps, you'll quite happily get lost because they can only pinpoint you so well. And some of the streets in Venice are only about a meter wide. And then
if anything, like I'll just swim like I do in the game.
You wouldn't want to swim in that water.
No.
Yeah, I would say
I bet I would.
the fictional facsimile in Final Fantasy VII that's modeled after Venice is quite accurate because I got lost in that city for I don't know how many times. Bless you.
And Dan, how are things in your hotel room, bedroom?
Yes, hotel room. Very good, McWomble. Yeah, good. I'm just down here for my for the weekend for my sister's baby shower. So socially distanced. It's going to be interesting. We're in groups of 6 throughout the day, so it's going to be hilarious. So after we've done like our hour or so session, we'll just go out, do a bit of exploring on the local area. But
Well, at least your country's comfortable enough you can go to a hotel room.
yep, and it's still super cheap because people don't really want to stay in hotel rooms. It was 43 quid.
I won't lie, I did look at a flight back home, and it was a tenth of the price it was to fly to Los Angeles on a one-way. It's $50 to fly back home. I spent like $500 to fly out here one way.
Wow.
Wow.
That's the thing. It's so tempting. Like you
To go
are
on
thinking
vacation.
about risking it. You know, like should I go? Should I be traveling right now?
As long as you take precautions, you should be okay.
Yeah.
Unlike all these fucking numpties who are out and about. I posted on Twitter. So the advice in this country is to wear a face covering on public transport.
Right.
A face covering covers your nose and your mouth. A face covering doesn't just do this. That's not a face covering. That's a mouth covering.
So many people that I see just have it covering their mouth. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you even wearing a face mask?
Yeah.
We
might as well not bother.
Yesterday in Bradford, and the amount of people. Because I said to Siobhan, my wife, about this, about the nose thing. She goes, "No, not people do it." And then after 5 minutes, she goes, "Oh my god, everyone does it." I'm like, "Yep." That instructory video of how to wear a face mask. It's crazy.
Absolute morons. Talking about absolute morons, do we want to get onto Ubisoft?
Did we ask Evan how he feels and what he's doing this weekend?
Well, Evan is
I think we did
because he beat you in a challenge that you issued to him.
Actually, we can skip me. I am quite hot, so let me just.
Is that just an observation? Let me just go and check myself out in the mirror.
He's got Liverpool war paint all over his chest.
LFC in the liver bird.
Much cooler now.
Right, so for those listening,
do you have a fish shirt?
I don't.
It's a shark.
I can't match that.
Vest on.
All right, let's talk about Ubisoft.
Well, overall, how's people's level of summer of gaming fatigue? Because mine is
heavy,
quite substantial at this time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, didn't we see the conference already? Because everything was already
leaked.
spoiled.
Everything's leaked.
It's like days before the fact too.
I'm really curious if there's anything that hasn't been shared already. That will they surprise us with something? Like
what are the big
I'm
guns?
sure there are a few
Like-
things that are unannounced, that are not announced yet. Like a few.
Is it
small
Yves
surprises.
Chameau's apology to all of his staff who've been abused, bullied, or harassed whilst he's been in charge? That's the only thing that's probably not been leaked.
Burn. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So, Mitch, since you technically work in the video games, you're part of the media elite now, aren't you?
That's a good one.
Okay, sure.
So, what has been leaked and then we'll go through what potentially there could be still to announce other than Eve's apology to all of his staff who've been bullied or harassed.
Well, I guess the first thing probably was just happened yesterday or this morning, that Far Cry 6 has been leaked. It's confirmed that I don't remember the actor's name, but he stars in he's a villain in Breaking Bad.
He's also the villain in The Mandalorian.
Yes, he is.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Thank you. Yes.
I didn't know his name until this conversation. I just knew him by his Breaking Bad name.
Yeah, no, and I think the only other thing that's kind of been under speculation is it might be a prequel to the third game, but I don't think anything has actually technically been confirmed.
I don't think that's true. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't. I could.
It seems like
understand
an
that.
unnecessary.
thinking-
It's an unnecessary tie-in. Like, who cares if it's a prequel? Just make a new game.
It's only that scar, like, because if you're going to base it off the scar, I would say it's silly too, but it's the exact same angle in the same exact position. So like you could have done that scar in so many other ways.
Sure.
So
I guess the
I
only
think
thing
there's
is
a
why
small
call it
chance.
6. That's the weird part. Like,
But-
if it's a
but-
prequel, just have it be
Maybe they
Far
are
Cry's
tying-
title.
maybe they are tying them together once every 3 titles. Who knows?
No, I think
Like the fourth game's always a prequel. So you got the 3 games, then prequel, third game, prequel.
I think you have to make it a numbered entry just to make it like the
Yeah.
next Far Cry
Yeah.
game. You know.
Now, question for everyone: do we expect the next-gen version of Far Cry 6 to be $10 more expensive?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't expect to see price. I mean, I guess they won't announce price. I think you could maybe see it when it's pre-ordered. You'll see price, but I don't think they'll announce price.
How many different launch versions will there be? If there
Well,
were
it's
7
Ubisoft. They have at least
Brilliant.
7 per
Yeah,
product.
It's Ubisoft, so yeah.
I think
Well-
there will be like 4, including the collector's edition.
I think there will be 9 because you're including next gen version. There will be 2 options for next gen. There'll be
Oh,
like
this
a
should be
regular
a
and a
bet.
deluxe
This should
next
be-
gen version.
It should be a bet.
shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so Matt, do you want to try and issue Evan another challenge and base it on the number of...
don't do it.
Here, you can make the bet more interesting. You could do like
Just wait for the
like
quiz.
how many versions are above the price of $100?
Oh, that's
Because
a good one.
technically, if it's going to be $70, most of the deluxe editions are going to be close to or above $100.
Yeah.
So if you want to do
How
a special, you can do it that
how
way.
many versions of this game will be above $100? I'd say 3.
Okay, how many will have statues?
1.
Wait, doesn't Evan have to answer the question?
Well, let's see
Are
if
we
we can
challenging?
beef up the numbers. Oh, is it, Evan's not interested. I'm so far ahead, I don't really need you, plebs.
That's a fun. Let's move 1 statue to 1 over 100, 2 over 100.
1 over 2
Let's
over
just
100.
One over
move on.
2,
Let's just move
half
on.
are over
One
100.
statue, 2 over 100.
I'm a bit confused
Just,
though. Like,
just
why,
found out that Evan's an English teacher, not a maths teacher.
why would any of these versions, like apart from the collector's edition, why would they cost more than 100? I don't recall past Far Cry games at least costing more than 100.
The Far Cry ones
Because
haven't
the game
issued.
prices are going up.
So yeah, there's always the one that's like $99. And then there's always the
So
one
that's
that's
your
like
deluxe version.
130 or
So,
129.
Are you expecting the next gen game to cost more?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if we're making the
Oh,
assumption that next gen
Oh.
will cost $70,
Okay.
there's a potential that the
Okay.
collector's edition of that one will either be near or break $100. So that's why I thought
Okay.
the bet would be more
Right,
interesting
okay,
that way.
I've got
I
a
don't think
tiebreaker.
they're
You
going to
started
do
this
it.
argument last week. How have you not? Have you forgotten?
No, he's just seeing if he can relight that flyer.
Just missed an episode.
What does everyone think about? Oh, sorry,
Sorry,
Quizmaster.
for-
I don't want to step on your
Sorry,
toes.
for a tie break, how many new titles that might be announced will be able to pre-order immediately?
From the whole presentation.
Yep.
From Ubisoft.
I
But
think
you
there will
mean
be.
new titles, like things that we haven't seen before?
Or that haven't been able to be pre-ordered
previously.
My
Until
bet
this
is
point.
3, but I don't think you're going to be able to pre-order all 3 immediately. Like maybe
Well,
they're going
Far,
to show.
Far Cry 6 is already on the PlayStation system available for pre-order, so I imagine they're just waiting
Are
for
we-
Sunday tag.
Yeah, are we
Right.
counting Far Cry 6 as a new reveal?
No, because it got leaked. Anything that hasn't
Oh, I
been
see what
leaked.
you're saying. Pre-order? I don't know. This is so arbitrary. Like I have zero experience with this. I don't put a lot of
Okay,
time into
move-
thinking about these types of things. So
Yeah, you're too busy kicking Matt's ass
I-
and marrying.
want-
no. My point is, I could say 2 or 3, and I'm just throwing out a number because I have no idea. So I'm just saying like that I can do that, but I think it's kind of useless to do so. So I could say
Thank
2,
you very much.
but
I was listening to another
Open the
podcast,
bag,
and
leave some points.
they were discussing whether the Rainbow Six quarantine game will get renamed
oh man,
because of the pandemic.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
clever. No, yeah.
what if they double down and they call it COVID-19? They should do that.
Oh,
I
that's
think
not
they'll
gonna
be a
happen.
little too scared now.
Yeah, there's no way.
What's happened
They won't
recently.
do that.
They will rip off Keith's idea and will call it Cop Independence Day.
Or they'll have one of the special editions called the Lockdown Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an alternative word to quarantine that would still match the actual game, and I can't think of one because if you think of lockdown, we've used that phrase too. Like I just like there's no phrase I can think of that would replace it unless you just called it zombies. If it is
We should
like
think-
that's the thing, we don't know if it's zombies. That's
Like,
the whole thing
let's
about
check the lexicon in on antivirus pieces of
Uh,
software.
Quarantine
if
space
we-
synonym.com thesaurus.
Yeah, but I think
Like,
in the
yeah.
I think like if it does have zombies, then I would just call it zombies if you're going to replace the name
Is
quarantine.
that too close to people thinking about Call of Duty though?
But to be honest, I don't even think it's zombies. Like they didn't even
Yeah.
confirm what the creatures or
it
whatever
seemed
it
like-
was that they were running from. All you knew it was a virus.
It seemed like
But
something parasitic, so they could just
But
call it
Mitch,
parasite.
Mitch, you're forgetting that in these fictional worlds that have zombies, for some reason, they're always called something else. It's like George Romero's work never existed. It's always like walkers
Well,
or
Evan,
something else. No
technically,
one calls them
you know what they
zombies.
could call it? They could call Rainbow Six: The Last of Us Part 2.
There you go. It's got a nice ring to it. Just make the exact same box art, but have like Rainbow Six really, really small, and Ellie's on it as well. It's like Rainbow Six.
Ellie's in like the
Hey
Rainbow
everyone,
Six gear.
did you know that I'm a fun guy? Sorry. That was
Is
horrible.
that, is that from something?
No.
it's just a classic fungi joke.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will be the next thing that comes from Naughty Dog as a Twitter meme that they invented for themselves. One of the clickers. Hey everybody, do you know I'm a fun guy?
Oh, I expect one of the characters from the game to say it if they do a part 3.
Right.
Mm.
Can I back up quickly? I wanted to know what people think of Far Cry 6. Are they excited to play it or they don't care?
Don't care.
Absolutely do not care.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never
yeah.
cared about the franchise, so no.
Oh wow, we got three
I
do
did
not
care
care.
about the franchise. Like
I
I
don't
loved Far Cry 2 and 3. And
I
then
don't understand what's
Excessive
appealing
Entry.
about it.
The worst thing of all is that I complain about them being all the same and not doing anything special with them, but then I go on and play them anyways.
It's kind of like
Yeah,
the Grand
I,
Theft Auto in your what else, the Animal Crossing.
So I
Cringe.
like it's a seasonal thing for me. That's very exciting that they've got that actor in. So that ups the
I'm
hype
excited.
because I was
Yeah.
new villains they introduced with 4 and 5. Although they weren't really bad, but I wasn't too connected with them. So if
I
they-
liked Peg and Min. I thought he was a pretty
yeah, he was
interesting.
But,
bad guy.
Well,
Yeah.
to me, it's just first-person checklist simulator. As it
That is-
Yeah.
That is
evil
100%
villain
true.
monologue. Like
So my-
you always get an evil villain monologue, and I think unfortunately the worst part is like there's only one monologue in that entire game that's actually like significant, and then the rest of it is kind of a throwaway. And it's like, why aren't you utilizing this person for all they got? And it seems like they don't.
what I dislike the most about these games is that the villain every time has to call you and remind you they're the devil on earth. Like you don't
Right.
They
Yeah.
remind you that they're the
Hey,
bad guy. And it's
Yeah.
like you should just feel it.
I'm going to ruin you. Like, no, don't do it like that. So I hope they are taking like a few pages from what Gus Fring was in Breaking Bad, because that's the role he's mostly known for, and Mandalorian, but mostly Gus Fring. I hope they try to do the narrative in such a way you feel at least as uncomfortable as Breaking Bad made me feel whenever that character would appear.
I hope you're right. Yeah.
Because he was so
Do we think that
unpredictable.
they've got the well? As Jim Sterling said about The Last of Us Part 2, which is the greatest video game ever made, by the way, only made by wonderful people who've never done anything wrong, as we confirmed last week. But Jim Sterling was saying that video games can't compete with the quality of writing of TV and cinema. So do we think that Ubisoft have the quality of writers to be able to do what you're hoping they can do?
No.
In terms of the writing of those
Unfortunately,
characters?
because they're too formal. They're formulaic. Like if it was Ubisoft from 2008, like when the first PlayStation 3 was coming out and Xbox 360, they took a lot more chances as a publisher then. Now they are all about similar menu screens, upgrading your characters. I think that's unfortunate for this franchise, because I think if they had really good writing, I think this franchise could be something more special than it currently is. And I can understand why someone like Rafa or even Evan would enjoy this franchise. I think there are elements there that feed into an overarching persona of an ultimate villain, and something is appealing about that. I just don't think they execute it well enough, and I don't see that. They really have to. Now maybe they can. I mean, I think the one thing they have going for them is with Breakpoint being an epic fail as it was, they have taken more of a step back. So maybe they have had time to fix a little bit of Far Cry 6. So I am intrigued to see what they do. But on initial look, am I interested? No.
It was a fabulously rendered cigar that he was lighting, though.
It was absolutely beautiful.
The only
Beautiful
hope that I throw out of it for being actually good is the actor itself, because he's a very great actor. So
I want to come back on that.
I'm naive maybe, and I'm hopeful that they're going to realize that he's not just any other actor, and they'll put him to great use. But then again, so was the villain in Breakpoint, and they ruined it.
Yeah, and so was it may not be at Ubisoft, but they also did that same mistake with Kevin Spacey in Call of Duty. Like there's been plenty of opportunities, and it's just there's only so much the actor can do. The writing has to be good enough for the actor to do a good performance. Sorry, Liam, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I just wanted to say that I think that actor being cast in this game is of utterly no interest whatsoever. I like him as an actor. I think he's fantastic, but I don't care to see another version of Gus Fring in a Far Cry game. Like, I don't care. I wish they had gone for somebody unknown and somebody more interested.
What if he was a 180? What if it wasn't Gus Fring like you think you know him? Would that interest you?
The thing is, it will be. He's on the cover of the game. The villains are always on the cover of the game. The Ubisoft are going to play it safe as usual, you know. I mean, you can see from all of the details of the game that, we're going to start a revolution. Like, and it's the biggest open world ever. You know, it's like, it's just the same as the last game then, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Well, it goes back to my fears about this. This is a checklist simulator.
It's exactly the same game.
I think my issue is the fact that I've never really cared about a modern day Far Cry game. Primal and New Dawn were the best entries.
I like Primal.
I like Primal. I like Primal
and Blood
a lot,
Dragon. And Blood Dragon.
Those
were the best
also
entries
good.
in the series. You know,
all the expansion version, or not expansion, but all the add-on series were better than the main series. Spin-offs.
For me personally, like I don't know, like the sales-wise, that's probably not the case. You know what I mean? Like Far Cry 3 and 4 are probably the the biggest selling entries in the franchise. But
I think 4 is probably the best selling if I remember the numbers right.
right, but in terms of like story and like immersion and everything else, Primal, New Dawn, and Blood Dragon are the best entries by far.
I disagree. I think Far Cry 3 is like the best. Like
Far Cry 3 is
a long way.
my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, they've just gotten more mediocre like since the third game. Like the third game actually tried with the story and it tried with the gameplay. It tried to be like more unique, and then all of the other games just copied it.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that ever since 3, because 3 worked so well, they tried to do a copy paste job, and unfortunately, the copy paste job, there's only so much of the same type of psychopathic villain you can do.
Yeah,
like you can change the setting, and you can maybe change the group of people that follow him, but that's not enough. Like
I think it goes back to what
him.
Liam and I were agreeing on last week when we were talking about learning the wrong lesson from The Witcher 3. Ubisoft learned the wrong lesson from Far Cry 3, which was people really like this game because we had loads of towers and camps to clear out. Not that the story was actually interesting and engaging and kept people in the world for longer.
Yeah, I didn't play the first 2 games, though. Has anyone did? I don't recall them having cities ever in a Far Cry game. So that's another thing that I find interesting. That although you have like huge jungles and whatever, and apparently you're also going to have some beaches. You're like in the middle of the map or somewhere, you're going to have like this big city, and that's something that I suggested they should be doing, because I'm growing tired of this uncharted territory that it's all.
I think that's what we might be getting with this one. I don't know.
Yeah, because it says on the description on the store on those photos that leaked that it's going to feature a city. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah,
you're doing a lot of stealth and hiding and like going into a populated area that it's not meant to be. Like that would add something new to the game.
My policy with these Ubisoft games is I don't play an Assassin's Creed game. I space it out like 3 years or so. I haven't played a Far Cry game for like 2 or 3 years. So when 6 comes out, it's like it's been long enough that I'd like to play another one of those things. If I played it every year, I can totally see how you'd get bored of it. But the fact that I wait so long, like Valhalla, I haven't played Origins or Odyssey, so I'm excited to play that game.
And also the kind of Ubisoft formula feeds your addiction for completionism.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, from what I heard from Odyssey, like I don't see how I could platinum that game because it seems like there's way too much shit to complete.
You would give up, Evan.
That is
promise
too much
you would give up.
I did it, but unfortunately, it was on Steam.
I will say, even though you say that, McWomble, I've platinumed Far Cry 4 and Primal, and those platinums are not that bad. They don't make you collect everything, which shows you that there's too much in the game. If you don't need a platinum for collecting all the collectibles, don't you think there's a couple too many collectibles? And
it's like that. But I mean, I was almost done with the achievements for it, like way before I 100%ed the map and took all the out.
Totally. Yeah, they've toned it down.
Yeah, you don't have achievements for all the outposts, and like there are, I think 75 sync points, like synchronization points. Like it's such a big map. So yeah, they definitely were aware of that and didn't make you like spend all that time just.
Rafa, you just named like 5 different checklist things within 10 seconds.
Yeah,
that's the game in a nutshell.
What else? What else are they going to be showing at this thing?
Watch Dogs Legion.
Just Dance. Jesus, guys, come on!
I want my dancing panda. Like there was no dancing panda because there was no E3.
How do you?
I better see a dancing panda this year. Like
how do you go
to that.
Directly to fucking Watch Dogs? No, Just Dance is the game that we want to see. Damn it.
Because the panda is just a bundle of joy, and he is E3.
Pandas are useless animals that are taking themselves to their own ecological nadir.
Yeah. Do we want to put a wager on whether there is panda or not panda?
Oh, now you care about wagers when I suggested it. It's stupid and arbitrary.
Well,
Well,
this is like a
headline
this
is
is 50
well,
50,
Evan,
right?
to be honest, like if there is no panda, Summer Games is a failure. Let's just put it that way. In my
That is
mind,
that's
Don't
that's the
open the
if there is
barometer.
no dancing panda, Summer Games is an absolute failure.
Unless
I feel
Mitch
like-
can save it by wearing a panda outfit on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I want to see that.
Secretly do it and then come on the TriCaster and there he
You,
is. in his
you
pandas.
order me one, I will maybe talk to my boss and see if I can do that.
Yes.
That would be incredible, like a panda.
And then
head,
bust a move in the
I
shower.
saw
like Dead
a
Man.
headline this morning that Just Dance and Shakedown Hawaii are in a stare down to be the last game ever to be released on Wii. I think the next one is going to be released on the next Just Dance is going to be released on Wii as well this year, right? Like, when are they going to stop releasing?
Well, Rafa, I just imagine the statement they make of Just Dance will be released on more platforms than we've ever released on them before, including the Wii.
Like, yeah, like,
And
like what
Stadia.
bulletin point is that? The
The
Stadia.
Wii, the
Yeah.
Wii U, the Switch, the PlayStation.
Like, they have to
4.
go back.
Stadia.
We
yeah.
just
Stadia,
made
PS5.
Just Dance for GameCube.
They're on more consoles than they have collector's editions of a game.
Yeah.
That,
Well,
that, would,
the
that, would be,
unfortunate
that would be
thing-
funny in their, sorry, Big Womble, very quickly, in their bulletin point, like, it's going to be released on the Switch, the PlayStation 4, the Wii, the Wii U, and even Stadia, like they put
The Stadia version coming in 2022.
Sorry, the Stadia
Sorry.
version needs some more cooking in the oven for systems, so it won't be out until 2022.
So has everyone watched the Assassin's Creed Valhalla footage?
Yes.
No, I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Did you
I-
watch the second round of footage?
It was
Because there's
No.
2 rounds. The
Yeah, I
second
saw
round
the
of
second
footage is
round.
different.
Shane
I'll
on
let
Game
you-
Pass was
It's clearly a newer build. Like,
It looks a little better. I will
feel
say
like
the
they
only
released-
issue with Valhalla that I can see out of the combat system is the characters way too. They like float on the surface. It's very strange. I don't get it. And like when they take a step back, they take like a 50-foot step back. It's not like an actual step backwards. It's really strange. So the combat itself is a little at the moment in my
I
mind.
didn't like the look of it at all.
I didn't like the look of it either.
I was watching the video going, I've got no interest in this game now because
Oh,
it just looked.
I was so disheartened.
yeah, you
Really?
shouldn't base
That
it off
bad?
of that footage. I think that footage is from last year. Like,
Let's hope.
they've probably updated the game
You're always
significantly. since
you're
then.
always the optimist. So hopefully
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
support you.
I will give it credit.
I'm-
If
I'm-
it improves those things, yeah, I'll give it another look see. But
But
at the
I'm
moment,
just a realist though, because it's like, you know, the developers don't want that getting out. Like that's in development footage. Like you should
Yeah,
let
of
your
course.
opinion of the game be dictated by the things that they actually release.
well,
Because video game publishers are so trustful.
But I would say the second
no,
round of
but you know,
footage they
there's not
released,
much you can get
Liam,
from.
Liam, I would say though the second round of
Yeah.
footage they did release was a lot more polished.
Yeah, it was. a lot
I
better,
could easily
yeah.
see that as the demo because it was a actual like boss battle. So like it was like literally a side quest where the character was riding their horse. They got to this place where it looks like one of their fellow Vikings people got strung up and cut into pieces, and all of a sudden a mystical, and this is the other part is it's now turning more mystical than it ever has as a franchise. I don't know if they're hallucinating, and that's maybe why they're seeing them
think
as
it's
that way.
I think
But
because
a lot
it
of that
looked
stuff of
it looked
Vikings.
mystical, and so all of a sudden this person appears and starts using lightning abilities as their way of attacking you, and
Fuck
you're
it,
using
throw it out,
and
throw
all
the
you have is two
realistic stuff
axes.
all out the window.
Yeah,
Which
they-
They chucked
which
the,
is the
they
same-
chucked the rule book
which
out the
is the same
window.
attack.
Yeah.
Which is the same attack from the last arc DLC arc in Odyssey. Like
oh
it's
really?
it's something that I've seen before. It's the same thing,
That's
like
even
you're-
worse.
you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now
that was
my
my
mind's
problem
changed.
with these things, because like there are so many things that I recognize from having played like almost 150 hours of Odyssey. Like how did you not even care to change these? Like same haircuts, same dialogue animations, like the same exact things. But yeah, like
Well, this is what you get when you put a game out every single year. Like that's
Yeah.
that's the
Because
thing.
they are
It's a copy
They
paste
did.
job.
They did
they're being
stagger
developed
the
together. Like
release.
The Odyssey came out last year, correct?
No,
but
no,
it
was
it's,
2 years
the
ago.
year
2 years
before. It was
between-
It took a year.
2018.
Okay,
And they
so it's
took
still
one-
it's still 2 years. That's not very much time.
But
They took
also,
one year.
Odyssey was made by a different studio. That was made by Ubisoft Quebec. So
Right.
this is the
Okay,
team that
they're
worked
like-
on Origins from the year before.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
they're doing that. Okay.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
so
that's right.
what I wanted to say earlier, Shane on GameFace complained about the bad quality of these leaks. Like the videos were so compressed, but I was lucky enough when the first ever 30 minutes clip leaked, I knew it was going to get taken down, so I didn't want to have the video stop midway, so I downloaded it, and it looks a lot better than what's out on YouTube right now, because you can still, like, they can't keep the pace on the league.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten it if you hadn't sent that link.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got it
I
either.
got it
Yeah,
from you.
also- Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you had tried to access that link after the video was removed, you couldn't have. So the video was still up. That's why you. So that was the best quality that I could find the video, and the reason I'm saying this is it looks better. Like, you can see you can see they did some improvements in terms of lighting and vegetation and all that. Like, the game looks better, but you could also see that perhaps was a current gen video. That wasn't. I don't think that was next gen.
This is a really nitpicking point from the video. Was anyone else annoyed by the fact that your boat took multiple fire arrow damage and never caught light? That really bothered me.
Well, it
I'm
was
just
like
like,
surrounded
that's so fake.
in flames. Like literally,
Yeah.
the whole arrow
Carried on,
surrounded
no
the entire
damage.
boat, and
What
nothing
is
caught
going on?
fire.
Love it.
Yeah,
Because you
that
put your
really
shields up, right? Just because you put your
Yeah,
shields
yeah.
up, somehow there's a
was
magical
mystical.
barrier. Well, it is mystical. I guess it is
It's a
mystical now.
maybe.
Anything
it's a
goes.
simulation.
Really
It's a
bothered me.
simulation.
That really irritated me. I don't know why. I was just like, that's so fake. That really turned me off, that part of the show.
The same thing would happen in Black Flag. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
What is it? Right. What? So we've done that. Legion.
I think this
Or
this one has.
do we
the-
think everyone is going to suffer from Legionnaire's disease?
I think Legion is probably the one that is probably going to have the most opportunity to impress compared to all the other games, because I
I
think it's
really
first.
want.
I think it's
um,
first showing at. Go ahead.
So I really want there to be a compelling story to that, because
Yeah.
it's the first time in a long time that they've done something different with the world setting and
Yeah.
the moment-to-moment gameplay design by having
Absolutely.
this recruitment aspect that you go through.
Yeah.
But if there's for me, as Evan would say,
For me.
if there isn't that overarching story that's compelling, I'm just thinking it's a gimmick,
Yeah.
and some
yeah.
people
And that's all it
will
is,
enjoy
yeah.
that gimmick.
Well,
Um,
and that goes to my
so-
point. I think the game. Oh, go ahead, Berghoff.
I was gonna say I agree with McWomble. It's a bit like what's the mechanic in the Shadow Mordor games?
Nemesis system.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Nemesis system, right? Like, it's very novel, but it's
you are the
also
nemesis.
but it's also new. You know, that you can sort of invade everybody or every NPC in the game, and that's cool. And I've never played a Watch Dogs game, but I could see myself playing Legion if this mechanic is intriguing enough. You know.
Sure. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like Shadow of Mordor got tons of Game of the Year nods, and it kind of came out like the
When
first
nothing
year
else
of
was
the-
out.
Nothing
Yeah.
else was out. It was
Yeah.
like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One had been out, so maybe there's a bit of that. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right that like the gimmick was novel enough because no one had ever done that. That maybe that hook is going to be enough for people, but maybe some other people like McWomble, it's like if you don't tie this all together with the story, the gimmick
Right.
isn't enough.
Right.
And I think
I'm
I
really
think overall
concerned.
this is like the one game that could impress. It has the best opportunity to impress people. I think the
Right.
first showing showed off pretty well, but I think like the ultimate thing with this game is the gimmick is it's going to be held back on either the loadouts of each individual person you can take over, because there's only so much you can do with the current, at least this current generation of hardware. I'm very curious to see if they talk about significant differences between PlayStation 4 version and PlayStation 5 or Xbox One and Xbox Series X
man.
in regards to the loadouts of your characters that you can change over into, because you probably can only do so many old grannies, and that old granny probably has the same loadout as the old man, is the same loadout as any old person. So I wonder if maybe with the next gen they have a little more wiggle room, that there is a difference between the old grandpa and the old grandma.
You can't have the granny assassin being a brawler, for instance.
Yeah. Regarding Keith's point, though, I think the only one limitation probably will be with the story is obviously there's permadeath. But I feel if they had one character that didn't have permadeath and potentially you'd get game over if they died, that's the way you could kind of tie it together. However, if everyone's dying and you have to get someone else, then I think they're going to struggle to have a comprehensive story, and that's my worry, and it just becomes a sandbox.
Well, I think the thing that maybe is the anchor is that AI component, the AI like that talks to you throughout the adventure.
Yeah,
and I think maybe there is a way to still have actual like death because of you have a crew, and so if your entire crew dies, then obviously you have game over. Like that's the way I could imagine it. But like,
maybe it's like an old.
I totally get your point for sure.
It's like an old Madden game. You know, it's like the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like, oh no, grandma died. Just like cut it in. Like,
I think
Liam, you look like you wanted to say something. Do you want to come on?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just I honestly don't give that much of a shit about like some overarching story. I like the direction they're going in, because if they use the game mechanics correctly, like the story that you would get from the game is they have this very simple premise of, oh, you've got to take back this fascist, what's become a fascist British country, you know. And like the story that you get told is
there's
one
a joke in there about the current state of the country.
Well, I don't think we're
Or
quite
V
close to fascism yet.
Yeah.
Or you just replace the K with an S and you just got the other one.
It's just the story that you get from the game is the story that you would make from your experiences, you know, through interactions with random characters. I would hope.
Cool.
And I think that would be really interesting as a story, because you get to live through different experiences of different people. Like the old grandma's viewpoint is going to be different than the young jogger.
Exactly, and you could talk to other people.
Is it though? Because I think this is where you on the mission structure that they showed from the first demo, you could have, say, a drunken brawler who takes 50% less damage after a couple of pints, or the assassin granny who you can send in and just start blasting people
and stepping on their toes so they can.
Yeah,
I hope there's.
Great, but it's, as long as it's more of a sandbox than potentially a story-driven RPG, because there's no real role-playing mechanics other than who do I want to pick as my next.
Yeah, they have to find a balance.
Disposable hero.
There is a definite balance issue that can easily become a catastrophic issue for this game in regards to the balancing between the RPG elements and the gimmick, and then having a narrative that is going to have you compelled to keep going throughout the entire game. That is the biggest issue for this game.
The worrying thing for me, and it just clicked in my brain when I thought of the Metallica song. Evan's gone. He's had enough.
Oh shit! Sorry.
No, you're back, and you're still looking lovely in your shark fullness.
Thank you.
Who cares about progression if you can just keep recruiting people? And who cares? These entities that you're recruiting are disposable heroes. You might as well get them all killed, because you can just recruit someone else.
But that's fun.
So this is Matt. Sorry, Mitch made a really good point that if they get that balance wrong and think, oh, people are really going to like these characters if we make them quirky or interesting. For me, they could either be quirky or interesting, or they're totally irrelevant, because as long as I complete the mission that I'm given It doesn't matter if I kill one or all of these morons because I can just recruit another load of morons.
But I think
be
what
the
they
next
can,
round
I think what they can do
Lemmings.
easily to fix that problem is just
Yeah,
offer
Lemmings.
ways to upgrade your character. Like if
Yeah.
there is way, then you want to keep that person, and then you have a
Oh,
connection.
fair enough.
And you don't want to
fair
recruit
enough.
Yeah,
the
but
next person because they might be at level 1 again. So I
They,
think
they,
there is a
they
difference.
already made that pretty clear. Like the longer you keep a character, the more like sort of gameplay upgrades and bonuses they get. Like
That'd
It's
be
like
good.
your horse in Red Dead. It's like, I don't want it to
like
die.
it's like in those old roguelike games where the longer you stay alive, the more powerful you are. But you know, you die, and then you just have to rely on your prior experience to like get further.
Oh,
But then you run a different risk, which is that you're only interested in the characters for their stats, not the character.
Well, yeah, and I think
True,
for me,
yeah.
like the instant thing I thought about when this game was, I want a group of old people, and I don't,
Yeah.
and
About
I don't know if that's like necessarily what the game is going to want me to do, and I think that's going to be a very interesting question to say. Will they let me, which they should, based off what they're telling me the premise is, but 2, will all the elements work together that even though they may not be suitable for the mission I send them on, that they still can complete it and I can be satisfied with the gameplay.
so
And
I
is everyone's, and whilst they say that everyone's experience could be different, if you found someone who can min-max this, so if I've got a lawyer who can get people out of jail if they get arrested, I've got
Right.
a undercover policeman or who can get people out of prison if they're arrested, or can go on missions and he'll get let into secure facilities because he's part of the fascist police force. I've got a brawler in case I need to get in a fight. I've got a spy character who can sneak. I've got an assassin character. As long as you fill out your roster with the right makeup.
I think, all right, Mick Womble, I'm totally with you. Like, I would love to have that depth. I don't think it's going to have that depth. I feel like you're going to pick a character that does a certain thing and it does whatever the fuck you tell it to do. I don't think it's going to be, I have to choose a lawyer, I have to choose a doctor, I have to choose...
I wonder.
I don't think
if
it's going to be any of that. Unfortunately.
I wonder if it's going to be balanced in the way that you have this illusion that you can hire everyone and everyone has a specific background that makes them believable as a character, but that thing, at least for me, falls the instant where I can recruit 20 old ladies that are all ex-spies. So I'm wondering.
Right.
So I'm wondering if there's like a balancing in terms of how many, like how often and how easy can you recruit these classes. So I'm thinking a right way to do it, at least for me, would be like have the old people not be so common. Like if they are ex-spies, I could have an old person being a lawyer, for instance, but not an ex-spy. I think the progression for this game is going like I think this is the Ghost Recon Wildlands of the series.
What time do you want to leave?
Because Wildlands just like didn't have like it had a story, but it just threw you into the world, and it was up to you how you'd approach it, like who you are going to take down first. Like you had
I
this.
can go anytime. I'll just say goodbye.
Feelings that you had to take down to get to the next one. And you had multiple options from where to tackle it from. So I envision it would be the same with Legion, where you don't have like this linear story, but you're just given some context in the beginning of the game, and then it's up to you how you do it. And then you have all these prefabricated cutscenes and dialogues depending on what you do. One thing I didn't notice, like of course they showed the character going into a bar and talking to a character from the story, but I wonder, like, do the characters you play have voice acting? I don't recall this specific thing, but they do, right? Okay, so
everybody has voice acting.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Do you actually play as a character? This is the thing, because part of it, I got someone correct me, but I thought you actually played as the AI.
No, the way they sort of talked about it is they said you are the group. I can't remember the name of the group. It's like Decima or something. Not Decima. But they say you are the group.
DedSec. DedSec, yeah.
So yeah, DedSec. So it's kind of like you're the mobile app.
So
or
I'm
something
wondering
like that.
if I go to the
So,
bar
like-
with the old lady, like, is she going to say other things than the young character showing the demo, or are characters going to react differently? Which I
To
doubt.
be fair, if any studio could do it, it'd be Ubisoft. I mean, just the
Right.
sheer amount of employees they have is incomprehensible. Like, I mean, they've branched out into China and Malaysia.
Oh
and
yeah,
you wouldn't believe how many employees they have.
I did some playtesting in Shanghai, and
Yeah,
when we were living there, they just put an article out and just for like, if you're English, American, and you just all went down. It's quite cool. But
exactly.
so yeah, they're all over the world. Ubisoft.
Evan.
But I'm excited to go. Like, it's in London. So
Yeah, same.
yeah,
That-
like
that's-
get out of the
my number
States.
one thing.
Like, I'm done
To
with
be
the
fair, that's
States.
why I'm
We've
excited to
so many
play it, but
games
it's-
fucking take place in the States.
if
I've spent a lot of time around London.
the game
and-
could be a 7 solid, and I would still enjoy it just because it's in London.
Yeah, same. But that's probably one of my most biased reasons for being so interested in this game.
Yeah,
I
me
just can't wait to go around an open world where I actually know where
That's
everything
totally
is.
That's totally a
I'll be
legitimate
like,
reason.
they
I
got
think.
that wrong and they got this right, and things like that.
I want to visit the places where my friends in London live. Like,
Sure.
Yeah,
That'd be
send
cool.
them screenshots.
Well, it's-
like, I
It's
see
interesting.
You.
It's interesting you say that. And Evan, before you need to Scarpa, we'll get you to wrap us up. The guys at outside Xbox, they were actually walking around in one of the demo builds, and they were trying to find places that they knew in London, and they found all of them.
Oh wow, that's impressive. I mean,
Yeah, that's
That is cool.
And not kind of, oh, we went to Trafalgar Square. They found a couple of places that I know off the South Bank. And they were walking along the South Bank from Waterloo Bridge down to Borough Market, and they actually found
That's
the
really cool.
places that they were looking at.
you see, that's
a
the
good
kind
sign.
of stuff that gets me
That makes
excited.
me more excited about it because I like.
sure,
yeah,
sure.
me too,
Oh,
Liam.
totally. Like, yeah, even hearing that just now, yeah,
It's
definitely.
like, I can't wait to go to Covent Garden and beat up a performance artist.
He's already making a checklist. He's
Like, stop playing the tambourine.
yeah,
Or the statue
that's
people,
that's
yeah.
what it's for. You can live out your wildest dreams that you
Yeah, exactly.
you know. I mean, the first time I punched a grandma holding a Starbucks coffee in GTA 5,
The first time.
it's absolute. Yeah, it definitely wasn't the second.
First of many.
I almost said it definitely wasn't the second, which makes zero sense. But like, absolutely horrible, right? But it's a video game world. We can separate reality from fiction.
You
It was
then
so
didn't
shocking.
go on, send
It
death
wasn't
threats to
the 100th time.
the person who did the mocap for that.
No, I did not. You might be surprised to hear that, but yeah. But it's just like, it's just so, it's a fictional world. Like, we all get it. It's a game. It's so shocking, but it's like, I'll never forget the time that I just like, it was like a Superman punch, and then just she flew, and the Starbucks cup flew, and yeah. So I can see how Liam is quite excited to punch that tambourine guy right in the face.
Yeah.
You know,
Do
I think
It's like the first. Yeah.
I'll probably do this thing where if it says like a character has violent tendencies, I will literally go around the place acting more violent than
There you
the
go.
average
Yeah. It's like
person.
it's like Trevor.
It will be interesting because
exactly.
I think the only thing, like, if putting it in like realistic context to like what this game is actually probably going to be, it's probably going to be like written down stats of like could say violent tendencies on there, but like the character may not say things that makes it sound like they have violent tendencies. It's probably going to be very generic. And I think the only thing that could like make the game different would be like you will have like 7 to 8 or maybe 9 different classes, and they will be pre-assigned to a person. And so they may have a different kind of backstory, but their skill is like hacker or like assassin or lawyer, or I don't know what they all would be.
Yeah, it'd be like kind
And
of
I
like
think-
an algorithm RNG
Yeah,
in there.
and
to
then
mix
I
it up a
think
bit,
probably
yeah.
the only thing like the next gen would offer is maybe they would offer additional like skills. So you would have maybe like 20 different skill people instead of 9, because there's more room on the SSD to be able to render that and
Yeah,
have all
well,
that kind of stuff.
It's quite
Like
interesting
getting
how
cards
they
in a
how they
free-to-play.
presented.
Free-to-play mobile game. That's what these classes are going to
Yeah,
be.
because what they showed was in the same way that you could look at people's information on their phones in the first two games. So you could have a gangster granny skilled with guns takes less damage. So there's always a pro and a con to each of the people you're recruiting. So it could how they're setting that up is quite interesting. But it is I do congratulate them for being more ambitious with the design of this game.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just think for me I hope there's enough for me to get hooked into wanting to play the loop.
Well, and it goes back to like my original point. This game has the most opportunity to succeed, but also has the most opportunity to fail. And this is going to be a big moment for them. This is going to be Marvel's Avengers for Square Enix. It either can fall flat on their face and they cannot seem to pick it back up again after falling flat first time. Like they just never got back up to like continue the fight. Or they could be standing up pretty tall and, they could take a couple blows getting into it where they finally maybe reveal some extra details going into the release of the game. And it's maybe a little bit less of what you were expecting, but at least the premise is still there and it's good enough to hold its own head high.
Especially
Right,
because
so-
they played it.
All right.
And
So we should
Evan
probably
can get off to his drinking session.
Yeah, we should probably
yeah.
say, like, how do we feel about Ubisoft's presentation, and what are our thoughts on the Summer Games Fest so far, right?
Evan, go first.
Yeah, I gotta go soon. I'll say, like, I just kind of got lost in the shuffle with what was going on. I actually had a tentative schedule, especially for Japan, but I lost interest for several reasons. One, there's too much to follow. I did catch the big guns, like obviously PlayStation 5, Xboxes, the one where they showed the refrigerator and like they said gameplay and there was not that much gameplay. I saw that one. But another thing for me is like, these times are not for the Japanese time zone. It is like the absolute worst time to watch any of this stuff. Everything happens when like I'm either at work or I'm sleeping. So when I wake up, it's like Sifted is loaded with like 50 stories and I just can't follow it. So in terms of that, I don't like it. I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of people here where I just like, okay, you can do the whole game show thing, but concentrate it in like a single week and plan it out and just, you guys talk to each other. You guys do the work, not us, and say, we're having it this, and this, and show like a giant calendar. If you want to make it 2 weeks, fine. I'd rather have a week. These presentations are going on during that. You scatter it out with my time zone. It doesn't work. For Ubisoft, I guess I'm most excited to see Far Cry 6 and Legion. It's been so long since I played a Far Cry game, and Legion, like we said, is mixing things up enough to be intriguing. So yeah, whether E3 comes back or not, I don't care. But whether or not it does, I'd like things concentrated in a single week that we can just all follow and celebrate for that amount of time. So yeah, that's my final thoughts.
Liam.
I say my thoughts on Summer Game Fest is it's a great big snore fest, but I didn't expect anything more than that. I've been going on about this since May. I just haven't expected much from it to begin with, so I'm not disappointed at all. And I think this is just for this year. I don't think they'll do it again next year. I think they'll go back to being more concentrated in terms of games announcements. It's just because of coronavirus.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just like, oh yeah, the Xbox presentation and Ubisoft. I care about those. If Nintendo has a direct, that's great. And it'll be Sony's next thing or whatever. But those are the things. Anything else is just, if it surprises you, great. If it doesn't, I don't expect anything. But yeah, in terms of Ubisoft, I'm mostly excited to see Legion. And hopefully Beyond Good and Evil 2 pops back up. I would like to see more of that.
Yeah.
All right, Michael.
That looked quite different, yeah.
Yeah, like I never had I never expected to follow all the indie live events, because with every year during E3, I'm only interested in the big publishers. So right now, I feel like all these big publishers are like really spread away from each other. So I'm just waiting. Like we've still got. Is Bethesda going to do anything? I don't think so. But there's Square Enix that should follow, and the Microsoft, and then tomorrow Ubisoft. But yeah, like it could have been done a lot better, and I think this has been a learning experience for everyone. So I'm sure, like, if they're going to try the same thing next year, if there isn't going to be like any free, I think they'll do it much better, because they received tons of feedback this year. And about the Ubisoft press conference, I think my excitement is like somewhere around the B. I mean, I expect there to be like some things that would get me really excited just out of habit, but objectively, like, they wouldn't be all that great. So yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to being surprised.
Great, Dan.
Well, where can I start? Been very underwhelmed. Sony did quite well. Xbox, I'm expecting more from in a couple of weeks. But in general, I'm kind of with Evan. This should have just happened in a week. They should have just spoken to each other and just done it in a week, just to be kind of polite to the consumer. But they don't really care in the long run. That's what made me realise. And I realise coronavirus has been an issue, but they're all doing these events. So why they have to start in the middle of May and do pointless things and then stretch it all the way out to the end of August just seems like a waste of mine and your time. With Ubisoft, I would really like, which is probably just me, a Mario versus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2.
I think that's happening. I forgot to mention it, but I think that's happening.
So I'm really hoping they announce that, because that'd be awesome.
That's
That's it. But I'm kind of with. I've just gone down in Matt's expectations. And then, but obviously, I'm excited about Legion and Beyond Good and Evil. Seeing more of that. So normally Ubisoft, there's some good stuff in there. So I'm hoping, but so far I've been disappointed by third party. But that was only EA, so I can't really judge that.
They're always disappointing.
If we were doing Kojima names still, sorry, Dan. If we were doing Kojima names still, Evan would be Quick Change Man.
I'm trying to get. I'm getting ready while this is wrapping up, because we gotta leave fairly soon.
All right, Mitch.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, that's basically it.
Mitch,
Yeah,
go.
I agree. Yeah.
So I kind of hope to be surprised by something. I don't know what it would be. Like, I just hope they have something, because unfortunately Ubisoft is the worst in regards to leaks, and so I think even I kind of forgot about Far Cry, so like that would have even been a surprise, and especially seeing the voice actor appearing, I think it would have been a special moment. And unfortunately, if that's their big special moment for this conference, it just got ruined for themselves. So it'll be really sad to see if that's the case.
I wonder if that was like their final thing. I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm you know, like, obviously if that is their final thing, that's sad, that's going to be it. But you know, I'm hopeful maybe they have plenty in the oven to show off, like even something like even just announcing a property that they're working on, whether that's even something like Splinter Cell. Like, it doesn't mean the game's coming out like this year or next year. It could be coming out in 2022, 2023, but just saying it's in development, I think, is enough to give people whoa. I mean, you could just see it right now.
Nintendo showed a Metroid 4 logo like 3 years ago. Just throw the Splinter Cell logo on there. Like, hey, it's coming out soon.
No, exactly. And I already saw like 3 of your faces all melted as soon as I said do a Splinter Cell reveal.
Oh, man, please.
So like, clearly there is appeal for that. I think in regards to the Summer Games Fest in general, I think it's an utter disaster. And I think it's unfortunate. It's not it's not a single person to blame for this issue.
Yeah,
Obviously, coronavirus has caused the issue to become more bleak, and there's only so much that one person like Jeff Keighley can do to try to rein in these people to say, hey, please try to come. He probably talked to them and said like, hey, can you try to do this all within a month, or let's do this all within a week. And probably the publishers pushed back and said, no, we're going to release it when we're ready. And so that has came to an advantage. So like something like when Sony showed off the PlayStation 5 and showed off their stuff, I think they showed it off really well because they had the opportunity to show it when they wanted and not suffer under a deadline that was forced upon them. But I think next year E3 will happen, and I think this has proved more than ever that something like E3 needs to exist in the games industry, because I think the escalation and the explosion of announcements seems to be muted by the space between each one. And even if like have I seen more separate games trending on Twitter? Absolutely. But do I get the buzz? I think the only one that really got the buzz was the PlayStation 5. That was something that was E3 type buzz. Besides that, no other announcement has gotten even close to, in my mind, to the same type of energy. So it'll be interesting to see if Microsoft can be able to do that. And if they can, it shows they need it, because clearly the other publishers can't bring it. So they need the big guys together at 1 week for one session at one conference. So that means the ESA has to get their shit together and figure it out, because if they can't get Sony in that room, I'm nervous to see what E3 would actually be next year. It would be better than Summer Games Fest right now, but it definitely will be more muted than it's ever been before as an E3.
I'm sure if the ESA can't get that shit together, somebody else will take the reins.
I mean,
think
it's an easy.
Stands a very good chance. PAX could really take over.
I think unfortunately they'd have to hit the window of whatever E3 comes out with. Like, I don't think they can move the date to the fall. I think E3 is kind of the perfect date in regards to announcing this stuff, because it's halfway through the year. Yeah. You have time to push the material out for your marketing, and I don't know if you would have that Apple time if you waited until PAX, because it's a couple more months later.
Oh, I don't mean from that perspective. I mean, I just think PAX could set up some sort of digital event that would happen every June, basically.
I don't think digital will work. It has to be physical.
Twice as long podcasts, so I'm going to cut you off, because Evan needs to leave and Matt needs to give us his summation.
All right, gentlemen, I love you all.
That's it.
That's not quite it. The whole reason that I do this podcast is because I want to get drunk and talk about video games.
Yes.
Mission fucking accomplished, gentlemen. That's it. We're out.
All right. You good? You ready?
And on that note.
Are they actually out?
Yeah, I was waiting for the break off on that note, please. Very good. All right, we're off. By the way, I'll send some photos later. I'm going to meet